When people think Asian pop group, they instantly go to K-pop, right? New Jeans and Blackpink. But here's the thing, Asia is way bigger than Korea. And one country in particular that is absolutely dominating the pop world at the moment is the Philippines. And if there's one Filipino girl group that's absolutely dominating the charts at the moment, it's G22. If there's one thing I'm known on YouTube more than anything, it's for doing my 4th Impact video. This was about the girl group 4th Impact that kind of took over the world. They're a Filipino girl group, and as such, a lot of their fans were commenting on my video. And I read every comment and I reply to every comment, and 2 names kept coming up and up and up and up, comparisons, and I just kept seeing them again and again. It was G22 and it was BINI. I've just done a video on BINI earlier this week. I'm now doing a video on G22 because I have fallen into an absolute rabbit hole of Filipino pop, also known as PPop. And G22 is one of the newcomers, relatively, when you think about it, who are really dominating things. So who are they? Where are they now? And what they're up to? Let's talk G22. Since their debut, G22 has been pushing boundaries, mixing the infectious energy of P-pop with global pop sensibilities. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of groups in the Philippines that are made for the Philippines. And there are a few groups like BINI, like 4th Impact, that are created to be global successions. Successions? Success is successes. G22 is one of those groups. This has not been without its challenges, lineup changes, the brutal realities of being women in the modern music industry. But through it all, G22 has managed to create a movement, and in 2025 they're now bigger than they ever was. They've been on a continuous upwards momentum, and it does not seem to be slowing down just yet. I can only apologise for the lighting. The sun is all over the place today, look at it. You know, I'm filming next to a window, it's bright and it's dark. Clouds, am I right? Ruin my lighting. Anyway, before we dive into their recent success, let's rewind. G22 is a 4-member Filipino girl group formed under Cornerstone Entertainment, one of the Philippines' major talent agencies. They debuted in early 2022 with their single Bang, a bold, confident track that immediately set them apart. The song wasn't just catchy, it was a mission statement. They had branded themselves as female alphas of P-pop, aiming to bring empowerment, attitude and energy to a scene often dominated by male groups. In the P-pop world, it's often male groups have this kind of alpha energy, and the female groups are more like cutesy and stylish and all of this. G22 was bringing more of the similar, it was following the similar path to what boy bands had done as opposed to girl groups. Their lineup, AJ, Alfie, Jazz and Bianca, each brought something different. You had AJ who had the rap skills, Alfie had the kind of stage presence, Jazz's vocals stood out immediately, and Bianca had this kind of charismatic energy that just tied it all together. From the very beginning, they weren't just another girl group, they were marketed as a force. But the truth is, debuting as a pop group is not easy. The industry is still young and competition is fierce. We spoke about this when we did the BINI video, but in the P-pop world, rivalry is massive. It's so intense. It's worse than like 90s rap. It's worse than like Tupac and Bigger, right? The Filipino groups just kind of fight to the death to be seen and to be heard. Though it is entertaining, I think what would do really well on something like Netflix is a P-pop versus P-pop show, reality TV show. You get 2 groups, you put them in one house, and the rivalry would just be, who's going to make it? Oh, that'd be crazy. That'd be the drama. I'm absolutely here for it. Can someone petition for this show to be made? I don't know how you do that, but we should do it. Anyway, G22 came 2022, already you had people like BINI and other groups that were already dominating the charts, so it was a long way to climb up for G22. On top of that, female groups always face a tougher road. They're held to impossible standards. They're expected to be fierce but approachable, glamorous but relatable. For G22, it meant constant scrutiny, both in the media and online. Then came the first big challenge, the lineup changes. Bianca quietly departed not long after the debut, shaking fans' confidence. Girl groups live and die by the chemistry, remember that, and losing a member so early on could have spelled disaster. Think about all the girl groups, even not just Asian girl groups, but any girl group that split up because one member left. To do this at such an early stage can have massive impact. Clearly it did not, because we're still talking about it, and I'm still talking about it today. Instead of fading away, G22 leaned into the setback. They focused on refining their sound, strengthening their bond, and proving that they weren't just another PPop experiment. Their real breakthrough came in 2023 when G22 started gaining traction on social media, especially on TikTok. Clips of their live performances went viral, showing off not just polished choreography, but raw energy that made them stand out from other groups. It's all well and good to be able to release a good song and to have a good music video, but to put on a live performance that resonates with people, that is incredible talent, and that's something they did well. So this started to really take off on TikTok. By late 2023, they were invited to perform at major PPop conventions. Their fan bases outside the Philippines started to take notice. Reaction videos from Korea, Japan, and even Latin America countries became circulating, with international fans praising their stage presence and the uniqueness of their sound. They was built in a way where they could grow past the Philippines and they could be a global hit. And already in 2023, they were doing that. They might not have been the biggest P-pop group in the Philippines, but in a lot of other countries, they were known, whereas some of the biggest groups in the Philippines are not known at all in other countries because they don't resonate with fans from other countries. So G22 was really smart about this. Now, to understand why G22's rise really matters, you need to look at the bigger picture. P-pop had been riding a wave of momentum thanks to trailblazers like SB19. But whilst male groups often dominate the spotlight, female representation has been slower to break through. G22 isn't just another group. They represent possibility. They show that P-pop girl groups can compete on the global stage. It's always been a case that Asian girl groups are Korean, it's K-pop. And boy bands, they can be from anywhere in Asia. G22 was single-handedly trying to challenge that stereotype. They were not trying to copy K-pop, but they're also not trying to ignore what makes K-pop successful. They've taken the formula, the sharp visuals, the synchronized dancing, the global appeal, and they've infused that with their own Filipino identity. That identity shines through in their lyrics, in their styling, and even how they interact with fans. It's a reminder that Asian pop doesn't have to come from just one country. Because even though girl groups like BINI are so successful, there's a lot of people that still think that they are Korean and that they are K-pop, and they're kind of slow to reminding people that that's not the case. Whereas G22 has always been, we're Filipino, we're from the Philippines. Then we get to 2024. This was a defining year. G22 released Love Spell, a track that shifted their image slightly from fierce alphas to more versatile performers. It showed range. They weren't just about hard-hitting anthems, they could do smooth, sultry and emotional too. One thing that Asian pop has always been criticised for, and always will, especially by outsiders, is the fact that they all kind of sound the same. What G22 was doing by releasing Love Spell was showing the diversity, that they had range, that they had different sounds. They also started touring more aggressively, performing at festivals and fan events around Southeast Asia. fan bases in Indonesia and Malaysia began to grow, and suddenly G22 was no longer a local phenomenon. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. With growth came pressure, and they were constantly compared to other P-pop acts, especially fellow girl groups like BINI, like I'm doing now in this video. By constantly comparing them to other groups, it's hard not to do. And while competition fueled attention, it also meant that they had to constantly prove their worth. This year, G22 are in a better position than ever before. Their latest single, Evolve, dropped earlier this summer and has already racked up millions of views. Fans praised the production quality, calling it their most polished release yet. The choreography went viral on TikTok, sparking yet another wave of international reaction videos. They've also announced a collaboration with a major international producer, which signals that G22 is aiming higher than ever before, not just Southeast Asia, but global recognition, especially in the Western world. What's more, their fan base, also known as the Bullets, quite the name. I still think Blooms is a better name, but Bullets, hey, it's what you like to be called, it's what you like to be called. They have grown into a formidable force. Online, they trend hashtags at every release. Offline, they show up in droves at concerts, creating the kind of passionate fandom energy that record labels cannot buy. But here's the catch, the higher they climb, the harder it gets. With global attention comes global criticism, and an industry as cutthroat as pop music, every misstep is magnified. So what is next for G22? Can they maintain momentum? They could be the first P-pop girl group to achieve true global crossover success. They've got the talent, they've got the fan base, and they've got the ambition, but will they do it? They'll need to keep evolving, both musically, visually, and strategically. They can't afford to stagnate. The question isn't whether they're good enough for it, we already know that. It's whether the global market is finally ready to embrace a Filipino girl group the way they embraced K-pop. Can P-pop really dominate the charts even in the Western world? Let me know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And that is the story of G22, the rise and the fall. It's also the story of how wackadoodle the sun is today. Honestly, it's all over the place. This video has gone from light to dark to light to dark. I hope it's not too noticeable in the end. Once again, I've fallen down a right rabbit hole of P-pop. I think I've got like 1 or 2 more videos that I'm still trying to work out the bits for and that I'm still researching, but this P-pop world is crazy, and I'm happy to say, this being my 4th P-pop video, am I an honourable member of the community yet? Or do I need to do a few more videos? Let me know.